Chapter 81 The Millennium Problem. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Oh, don't believe it, at least one-third of Yan Dazhong's people came to Yenda because they failed their exams. As he spoke, he said to the passing female students, "Beauty, you are Yenda because of something. Don't mention it, you failed the test." The 2-meter man spread his hands to Qin Luo and said helplessly, "I'm not wrong." Qin Luo's right hand trembled, and he was almost unable to restrain his inner impulse. "By the way, junior brother, why did you come to Yanda?" "Don't mention it, the test was smashed." Qin Luo finished and walked away. "When I came to Yanda, I only knew what a scholar is." Along the way, Qin Luo was full of emotion. He pretended to be a low-level force in front of Huang Zhen and Lin Shanshan. These open-mouthed and closed-mouthed, Zhou's conjectures, Riemann's conjectures. Qin Luo has a feeling of being stunned, all of them are monsters with an IQ of 180. It seems that they are the masters of learning, and they are just scumbags, they are pretending to be high-end academics. And he was still a long way from them. An unintentional walk made Qin Luo know about Yan Da's urination. As soon as you close your eyes, a day goes by. On Sunday, the National Mathematics League competition officially started. The competition is divided into 2 phases, the first half and the second half. Today is the first half of the game, tomorrow is the second half, and the total score is the sum of the 2 scores. As for individual awards, the highest score in the first and second half will be taken. The first teaching building of Yenjing University. After the routine inspection at 9:45 a.m., students from all over the country were able to enter the examination room, and the first half of the national competition officially began. This time there is a slight difference between the national competition and the provincial examination. His score is very low. There are 3 questions in total, with a total of 20 points. The remaining 80 points are reserved for the second half of the exam. Moreover, this time abroad is far more rigorous than the previous city and provincial exams. In the classroom with an area of more than 100 square meters, there are only 15 students, and the distance between each student's seats is more than 2 meters. More than 4 teachers take turns to patrol the exam. What is even more frightening is the surrounding of the classroom. There are more than 10 high-definition surveillance probes installed on the wall. He monitored everyone in the classroom without any dead ends. The probe went straight to the monitoring room. The monitoring room was already full of teachers, and even a slight movement could not escape their eyes, not to mention plagiarism. Even a small shaking, turning your head, can be judged as cheating. The rigor of this exam is much more rigorous than the college entrance examination in everyone's eyes. Outside the examination room, Wang Xuezai, Song Baoguo, and Zhou Haizhong walked over leisurely. As the invigilators this time, they felt that it was necessary to fulfill their responsibilities. "Do you think that Qin Luo is giving us a surprise?" Wang Xuezai sipped the tea in his cup and said with a smile. "Surprise? It's good not to be frightened." Song Baoguo's mouth twitched, and he said with a mocking expression, "You take Poincaré's conjecture as the test question in the second half, and you are not afraid to scare these genius dreams to death." "That's right, let alone them, even some doctors who are reading can't prove it." Zhou Haizhong said with a smile, Poincaré conjecture, one of the Millennium problems proposed by Galvos, a Fields medalist at the Millennium Mathematics Conference on May 24, 2000. Chapter 82 Classmates, this is a national final. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Any solution must be published in the world's most reputable mathematical journal, and more than 2 years tantamount to being recognized by the mathematical community, in order to receive the $1 million prize issued by the Science of the Cray Institute for Mathematics. The proof is already very difficult, and even more difficult is that there is no meaning in mathematics within 2 years of publishing in a magazine. It's almost impossible. Today, the Millennium Prize has a total of 7 questions, and the Poincaré conjecture has not been confirmed. Genius always has to be different. Wang Xuezai smiled lightly and said, "Besides, this kid's surname Qin is not just a genius." "What is that?" "Super genius." Wang Xuezai said seriously, if someone told him that a high school student had solved Zhou's conjecture that had plagued the mathematics community for more than a decade, he would undoubtedly have sneered. However, only half a month later, this thing became a reality. The papers on Zhou's conjecture have been sorted and sent to the United States, waiting for Princeton University, Professor Deline's final approval. However, there is hope, because until now, the manuscript has not been returned. Usually, papers mailed to Princeton are typed back quickly, and only those that require further verification can survive the 10-day mark. Zhou Haizhong, Song Baoguo was speechless. It is undeniable that Qin Luo is indeed the same as what Wang Xuecai said, 10 super geniuses. After opening the test paper, Qin Luo began to twitch, but the twitch was still very fast. Are you sure this is a national competition question? Why is it so simple? Qin Luo was stunned. What's the situation? This difficulty is really the national test. It's not what he imagined. There are 3 questions in total, and the score is divided into 678. However, even the question worth 8 points is very simple. Don't say it's difficult for Qin Luo, even a scumbag like Lin Shanshan can't help it. Qin Luo looked up and saw the remaining 14 people in the classroom, holding up pens one after another, and they were writing without difficulty. It's really not difficult. Don't look around, do the questions quickly. Mr. M, is this really the national exam? Qin Luo asked suspiciously. He once suspected that he had gone to the wrong examination room. Don't talk nonsense. The teacher scolded coldly, hurry up and do the question. After he finished speaking, he stopped paying attention to Qin Luo, turned and walked away. Shouldn't be. Qin Luo scratched his head and picked up the gel pen, and the pen walked the dragon and snake. It didn't take half an hour, it didn't take 10 minutes, it only took 5 minutes. Qin Luo's answers were already full of answers, and even during these 5 minutes, Qin Luo took time to check it again. It's really simple putting the cap on, Qin Luo sighed sincerely. Attention candidates. The invigilator, who heard the movement, came over again. His face was a little ugly. I'm talking nonsense, and I'll treat it as cheating. Teacher, I will hand in the papers. Invigilator. Looking at the time, it's only been 15 minutes since the test started. Even if this question is relatively simple, it should not only take 15 minutes. Brother, this is the national exam. Student, this is the national exam. He said coldly. He felt that Qin Luo had not figured out the situation and the seriousness of the matter. I know, but I will hand in the papers, teacher. Qin Luo still had a big smile on his face. Okay, let me see how awesome you are. The invigilator put away the test paper and read it carefully. Chapter 83. No way, the question is too simple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While others were still doing the first question, Qin Luo handed in the paper. He wanted to see what the ability of this student named Qin Luo was. Well, it's actually full, a little bit. Before he finished speaking, his eyes widened in the next moment. The first question is correct, the second question is correct, the third question is correct. Invigilator. He was a little stunned. Looking at Qin Luo's tender face, he felt as if he had lived as a dog for so many years. When he was Qin Luo's age, he was still struggling on the way to the college entrance examination, but Qin Luo already looked down on the national entrance examination. Teacher, can I go? Qin Luo asked. Go, let me go quickly. He didn't want to see Qin Luo, but when he saw Qin Luo, a fire of ignorance would emerge in his heart. So annoying. Outside the examination room, several academic experts were looking forward to it together. Tell me, when will Qin Luo come out? Wang Xuecai smiled. The test questions in the first half were very simple, about half an hour, Song Baoguo said. The third question, three-dimensional geometry of space, is still a bit difficult, I think 40 minutes. Zhou Haizhong said. However, just as Zhou Haizhong finished speaking, the 3 old guys who were over 200 years old together widened their eyes. The door of the Bangdang examination room was pushed open from inside, and a young man walked out. There was a smile on the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were shining, and when he saw him, he saw the stars and the sea. Wang Xuecai. Song Baoguo, Zhou Haizhong, the 3 national academicians are all stunned. Fuck, I really want to know how this kid's brain grows. Next to it is Yanda Medical College, how about we go around? Reconsideration. Yes, they were very confused. In their expectation, Qin Luo should be out in about half an hour. But what about now? Only 15 minutes have passed. A group of big bulls in the mathematics world are stunned, and Qin Luo is also stunned. As soon as he walked out of the examination room, he felt that he was being watched by several eyes. This gaze was like a red-hot soldering iron, extremely hot. If the owner of these eyes is a young lady, then Qin Luo said nothing, but when he followed his eyes, he saw a group of old men who were over 50 years old. Qin Luo. Simply, someone soon shared the energy for Qin Luo. Bang! That the door of the examination room was opened again. A man and a woman came out one after another. One of them is Sun Hua. The other is a girl with fluffy blonde hair. Qin Luo guessed that he was a mixed race. As soon as the two stepped out of the examination room, they were stunned, but the girl was only stunned for a moment, and then walked away on her own, leaving only Sun Hua. Qin Luo, why is he here? Sun Hua's originally smiling face suddenly turned gloomy. Qin Luo turned in the papers even faster than himself, but in the next moment, the corners of his mouth turned into a smile again. Even if you are as strong as yourself, it will take about 30 minutes to complete these 3 questions. Qin Luo handed in the papers so quickly. There is only one possibility, no papers. Unexpectedly, you slipped so fast. Sun Hua said with a smile, narrowing his eyes. Slip? What slips? Can you slip away as a scholar with a system? Qin Luo smiled lightly and said, no way, the question is too simple. Huh, so you think Qin is going to get a perfect score? Sun Hua sneered. Well, if you can't get a full score for such a simple question, then I'm not ashamed. Chapter 84. The ATM has also learned to be smart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If possible, Sun Hua would like to tear Qin Luo's mouth apart. What does it mean to have no face if you don't get full marks in the exam? Even if it is him, he is not sure of getting full marks in the exam. However, in line with the principle of losing, he said angrily, you are right, it is indeed shameless. After speaking, Sun Hua turned around handsomely and quickly disappeared from Qin Luo's field of vision. Ding detected the incompetence and rage of the scumbags. The tyrant value plus 88. Oh, can we communicate well? How to send points at every turn. Qin Luo really couldn't understand. On the other side, Wang Xuecai, academician Zhou Haizhong, was watching everything happening here with a smile. Yes, there are several good seedlings in this national competition. Seeing them is like seeing us in the first place. Friendly communication is the ladder of progress. If Qin Luo heard everyone's words, he would definitely be frightened to the ground. The communication between him and Sun Hua is not very friendly. Ding! 2 hours later, the bell for the end of the exam came as promised. Groups of scholars rushed out. Lin Shanshan, Huang Zhen and other team members came out one after another. They were talking and laughing with excited smiles on their faces. It can be seen that they are very happy and do well in the test. The first half was easy, but that doesn't mean the second half was easy. Qin Luo walked over and said faintly, what does it feel like to be thrown a basin of ice water on your head? Through the cold, the heart is flying. In a word, Lin Shanshan cooled from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. If you can't speak, don't speak. Lin Shanshan turned her head and said viciously. Reconsideration. Reconsideration, incompetent and furious, Shuaba value plus 1. As a scholar, Qin Luo felt very tired when faced with the points that increased from time to time. Doesn't this force me to upgrade? You guys are so kind to me, what a loving little group. Ding dong. At this moment, everyone's mobile phones rang in unison. He took out his mobile phone, and there was a message on it. The answer to the first stage of the national examination has been published on the official website of Peking University. Without any hesitation, everyone quickly clicked on the official website. Damn it! According to this answer, I can at least score 16-17 points. Huang Zhen let out an excited cry. I'm at least 18. Bai Chong said with an expressionless face. As a scholar in Southwest Province second only to Qin Luo, he also joined this national competition. Ah, damn, I made a miscalculation here. Lin Shanshan covered her head with her hands and was in pain. Where? How many points? Someone asked. 17. Everyone's face turned black, and the corners of their mouths twitched. Fortunately, the calculation was wrong. If it is not wrong, isn't it a full score? To be honest, Qin Luo felt isolated. Why don't these people ask their own assessments? To this end, Qin Luo decided to take the initiative. After all, Shuaba value is like soft sister coins, no one is too much. You don't want to know how many points I have. Qin Luo squinted and smiled. Everyone looked at each other, a hint of playfulness flashed in their eyes, and said in unison, I don't want to. Full marks once, full marks twice, full marks again. They have completely despaired of Qin Luo. You can ask anything, but you can't ask about his grades, because this is self-defeating. Qin Luo. I get full marks. Qin Luo emphatically dropped. Oh, we know. You don't want to say anything. The big guy is awesome. Not looking at the motionless system, Qin Luo had the urge to cry. These cash machines in front of them have learned to be smart, and they are no longer the ignorant teenagers. Chapter 85. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The dining hall of Peking University is vast. It can accommodate more than 3,000 people to eat at the same time. At this moment, somewhere in the dining hall, a group of teenagers are holding mobile phones with great interest, and words like 17 points, 18 points, etc. appear from time to time. One of the youngsters was arrogant and looked into the distance. Sun Hua, the first place in the provincial examination in central China, is a veritable scholar. Brother Sun, don't you estimate the score? Someone in the crowd asked curiously. Evaluate? That's something only scumbags do. Straight a student. No need for that at all. No need. Sun Hua smiled lightly and said, I can get full marks on such a simple question even with my eyes closed. Although he did not dare to guarantee the specific score, in front of all the younger brothers, he had to maintain the demeanor of a scholar. Full marks. For a time, everyone was stunned. It is undeniable that the test questions of this national competition are indeed much simpler than the previous ones, but it's not without difficulty. The last geometric equation is still very difficult, and many scholars have succumbed to this problem, but Sun Hua didn't. He got full marks. Brother Sun is worthy of being Brother Sun. He is still so awesome. As for Qin Luo, since he dares to compare with our Brother Sun, he is simply asking for his own death. Brother Sun, are you free tonight? Can you make up for me? Hearing the compliments in his ears, Sun Hua smiled lightly, raised his eyebrows, and said, we'll talk about making up the class after a while. I want to focus on Zhou's conjecture recently. Then tomorrow's national final. It's just a national decision, a trifle. After all, Sun Hua turned around and left without looking at it. Wu Ju is no longer in his eyes, and his goal is Zhou's conjecture that has plagued the mathematics community. Immediately, the audience was silent, not only everyone in the Central China team, but also some students from Yenqing University around them, all stared at Yenqing. After a while, however, there was a burst of laughter in the cafeteria. How old is Sun Hua? And he is still a high school student. Can he prove Zhou's conjecture? Thinking about it is Arabian Nights. You little brat, do you know what Zhou's conjecture is? That's right, do you really think of yourself as a genius? Who is not the winner of the national competition among the people sitting here now? At Yanda, the most important thing is genius. Student, how far have you proved? The overwhelming ridicule swept towards Sun Hua, and Sun Hua stopped for a while and smiled lightly. Prove that 2n, p2, 2n1, according to the distribution law of Mersenne prime numbers. After he finished speaking, he walked away. His voice was not loud, but it reached everyone's ears. Quiet, deadly quiet. The entire Yanda cafeteria fell silent in an instant, and a group of Yanda geniuses had their eyes wide open, and they could hardly believe their ears. The quick response person has already thrown off the plate, picked up the pen and paper, and started to check. Swish swish, crisp and crisp writing filled the entire cafeteria. Damn it, Mersenne primes can actually be used to prove Zhou's conjecture. That kid can actually figure this out. High school student, prove Zhou's conjecture, genius. For a time, everyone was amazed. A high school student who is only 178 years old has already begun to contact academic issues, and has flexibly used Mersenne primes to advance the argument of Joule's conjecture a lot. It's amazing enough. Chapter 86. I'm just pretending, but you think it's humility. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It seems that he is the champion of this national finals. It is said that the national finals, I think it is possible for him to win the IMO championship. The embarrassing ending of IMO 3 years without a title will be broken. There is no shortage of geniuses in Yanda, and it can even be said that there are geniuses everywhere, but at this moment, they all express their admiration for Sun Hua, for no other reason. Sun Hua is stronger than them. The next day, perhaps because yesterday's test questions were relatively simple, the atmosphere was much more relaxed today. The students of each representative team were talking and laughing, but they didn't feel the tension of going abroad. How many points are you going to get today? Lin Shanshan looked up at Qin Luo with a smile, but after speaking, he regretted it. Isn't this nonsense? And also asking for a blow. 670, Qin Luo replied. Lin Shanshan. Huanzhen. Crowd. Everyone looked at Qin Luo blankly. Why doesn't this seem to come from Qin Luo's mouth? Qin Luo, what's your situation? Boss, are you being modest? If you have a fever, go to the infirmary quickly. Lin Shanshan said. It was rare to be humble once, but someone said that he had a fever. Qin Luo was helpless. Qin Luo shrugged and said with a smile, it's like the law of conservation of energy, the difficulty is equal. The questions in the first half are easy, which means the second half will be difficult. You have to be mentally prepared. I shouldn't be nervous, you should be nervous. An exam with a score of up to 80 points is not easy to think about. As a student god, he wasn't nervous at all, but as a student scum, how could they relax? Can you still talk and play well? Being attacked again and again, Lin Shanshan was about to explode. If Qin Luo wasn't a teammate, he would be dead now. Scholarship value plus 54. 6710. Classmate Qin is too unconfident. At the same time, Sun Hua walked to the entrance of the examination room and suddenly heard Qin Luo's voice, so he immediately turned around and walked towards Qin Luo. I'm just pretending, but you think it's humility. Qin Luo shrugged his shoulders with a smile, and said with a smile on his face, I heard that there has been new progress in Joule's conjecture researched by classmate Sun. The corner of Sun Hua's mouth twitched, his face full of disdain. Why are you afraid? Afraid? That's not enough. I just want to say something to classmate Sun. Come on, I'll be waiting for you at the finish line. After all, Qin Luo strode into the examination room, waiting for me at the finish. The smug look on Sun Hua's face disappeared in an instant, replaced by an extremely gloomy expression. Qin Luo actually ignores him so much. Damn it, I want you to look good in the second half. The same 9.45 as yesterday's exam, the candidates entered. It's just that different from yesterday's exam, the exam time has been adjusted. The second half will last from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Exam time, nearly 6 hours. At 9.55, the invigilator handed out test papers and scratch paper. There is only one test paper, but there are as many as 15 scratch papers. One question, 15 pieces of scratch paper. The title is very simple, please prove the Poincaré conjecture. In a three-dimensional space, if every closed curve can contract to a point, then this space must be a three-dimensional sphere, Poincaré conjecture. With the announcement of the title, everyone was stunned. Chapter 87. Teacher, I need scratch paper. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Poincaré conjectures, one of the 7 major problems of the Millennium, and even the International Federation of Digits offers a reward of $1 million for whoever solves this problem, but unfortunately, no one has solved the answer in the past 10 years. It is such a problem that has plagued the mathematics community for more than 10 years, but it is actually an exam question in the second half of the national competition. Confused. Continue to be dumbfounded. Completely dumbfounded. No one thought that a simple national game would turn out like this. Teacher, aren't you playing with us? No, I need a ventilator. Mom, I'm going to retire. For a time, there were complaints in the examination room. Poincaré guessed that the problem was not something a group of high school students could solve. Poincaré conjecture. The corners of Qin Luo's mouth twitched wildly. He had a premonition that the question would be difficult, but he didn't expect it to be so difficult. I looked at the 18,331 points of Shuaba in my inventory, and I didn't know if it was enough to solve the problem. It is detected that the host's brain cells are dying rapidly, and the system automatically generates a solution, which consumes 10,000 academic points, 1 ability value-added card, and solves the first stage. 10,000 points, after adding an ability value-added card to unlock the first stage. How difficult is this? However, after thinking about it, Qin Luo still gritted his teeth and pressed the OK button. He must win this championship. Ding! The host uses a value-added card, consumes 10,000 points of academic mastery, and the system automatically generates an answer. With a clear prompt, Qin Luo only felt his brain become bright, and the world-class problem in front of him was slowly being eased. Before he could think about it, Qin Luo quickly picked up a gel pen and started writing. While you were busy solving the problem, at the door of the classroom, a group of national academicians were staring at it through the glass, talking and laughing. Hee, these little guys are stunned. Look at Qin Xiaozi scratching his scalp. The Poincaré conjecture cannot be solved even by a genius. Seeing Qin Luo scratching his ears and cheeks, they laughed out loud. Seeing the exam paper in front of him, Sun Hua was sweating profusely and trembling all over, and there was a hint of despair in his eyes. No one can answer Poincaré's conjecture, right? Thinking like this, he turned his head and glanced at Qin Luo. Fuck. In the next second, he couldn't help but utter a foul language. What did he see? Qin Luo is writing hard. It's impossible. Sun Hua cried out in despair. Even he can't write, how can Qin Luo write? Write down. Of course you can, because Qin Luo has a plug-in, and he spent 10,000 points of learning hegemony. Every time Qin Luo writes, his heart is bleeding. This is not a number, nor a formula, but a little bit of learning hegemony. And that awesome value-added card. For half an hour, 2 hours, Qin Luo was still writing frantically, and it didn't mean to stop at all. As a problem that has plagued mathematicians for hundreds of years, so far there is no problem that can be proved, and his difficulty can be imagined. This is only the first stage. Qin Luo has already written 10 drafts. Pata. Qin Luo put down the pen and looked up and said, "Teacher, I need scratch paper." Silence, deadly silence. For a while, everyone in the classroom was dumbfounded. Someone ran out of scratch paper. How can that be? Not only the candidates were dumbfounded, but even the invigilators were dumbfounded. This is Poincaré's conjecture. How could anyone prove it? Chapter 88, Second Teaching 102, A Bottle of Coke. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the scene in front of him, Sun Hua sneered in his heart. Relying on his intuition, he felt that Qin Luo must be painting. Students, scratch paper is not for drawing, said the invigilator. I know. Qin Luo nodded. As for painting, he has no spare time, proved Poincaré's conjecture, but the answer that cost him a lot of money. While the invigilator was still hesitating, a gray-haired old man walked in at the door, Wang Xuecai. He looked at Qin Luo with a gentle face and said, "You can write as much as you like, classmates, there is enough scratch paper." After that, he looked at the invigilator. "Go, give him the 50 pieces of scratch paper." Understood. The invigilator responded excitedly, turned and walked towards the podium. Wang Xuecai, that is an academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, a character who can't see the end of the dragon, but at this moment he actually appears here. The meaning of making a special trip to see a participating student is self-evident. Soon, a thick stack of scratch paper was sent to Qin Luo. As for who the old man in front of him was, he didn't care at all. His only concern now is whether he can solve the Poincaré conjecture within an hour. Come on, young man, I'm optimistic about you, Wang Xuecai said with a smile on his face, and then left the classroom. Gulu. After a long while, A swallowing voice broke the silence of the classroom. Wang Xuezai, an academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, is optimistic about Qin Luo. My God, he wouldn't really be able to solve the Poincaré conjecture, would he? Impossible, that is a problem that has stumped the mathematics community for 100 years. Apart from this possibility, can you think of any other possibility? For a while, the invigilators in the classroom all exclaimed. Ding, the doubts of the scumbags are the driving force for the academic bully to move forward. The host's academic bully value plus 12. Ding, the doubts of the scumbags are the driving force for the academic bully to move forward, and the host's academic bully value plus 9. Oh hey, this can also increase the value of learning hegemony. Qin Luo's mouth twitched and he glanced at everyone awkwardly. He was wondering whether the question should be done slower, and let the scumbags question more time. Damn it, this is impossible. Seeing the gel pen in Qin Luo's hand shaking rapidly, Sun Hua's eyes almost popped out. At this moment, he couldn't even move the pen, but Qin Luo was writing hard. He can't wait to find a crack to get in. Ding, the doubts of the scumbags are the driving force for the academic bully to move forward. The host's academic bully value is plus 88. The suddenly rising number made Qin Luo's eyelids jump. Sun Hua. Qin Luo turned his head, looked towards the corner, and grinned. I said, I will wait for you at the finish line. Host learning hegemony plus 188. Hey, good. Teacher. Classmate, have you run out of scratch paper again? I want to drink water. Drink water? I think you don't want to take the test, Sun Hua sneered. Coke, or Sprite, said the invigilator. Coke. The invigilator nodded and took out his mobile phone. Second teacher 102, here's a bottle of Coke. Can you still drink water? Everyone's eyes lit up. Teacher, I want to drink water too. Drink water? What water? Do you still want to take the exam? Sun Hua. Crowd. The exam room is in full swing, and outside the exam room is not too much. Reporters from all walks of life have long been waiting at the entrance of the examination room with long guns and short cannons. From the moment the exam started, the subject of the national final was no longer a secret. Poincaré conjectured one of the 7 major problems of the millennium. This is enough to stimulate the nerves of every medium. Chapter 89. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Look, isn't that Wang Xuezai from the Chinese Academy of Sciences? Why is he here? A reporter pointed the end of his hand at Wang Xuezai, who had just walked out of the examination room. Who is next to him? Zhou Haizhong, Song Baogua. Hold the grass, what are these academic leaders doing here? Looking at the 3 old men walking out slowly, the reporters were stunned. Yen University, one of the best universities in China, seeing academicians here is not a big surprise, but seeing 3 in a row is a big deal. With their keen intuition, they felt that something big was going to happen here. The kid's surname Qin is just a freak. Wang Xuezai said with lingering fears. What's the situation? He is proving the Poincaré conjecture. Zhou Haizhong asked. Well, he's proving the non-local collapse theorem. Opening his mouth, Zhou Haizhong was speechless. If the proof of Poincaré is divided into 3 steps, then the proof of the non-local collapse theorem is the first step. If Qin Luoning can prove the non-local collapse theorem, it will take the Poincaré conjecture a big step forward. Will this kid really prove Poincaré's conjecture? Song Baogua, who had been silent for a while, finally happened, but no one could answer his question. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. Ding! The bell for the end of the exam finally rang, and the 3 academicians all breathed a sigh of relief. They are under great pressure to face a big cow who may solve the millennium problem at any time. What is even more frightening is that this big cow is a real high school student. A few minutes later, groups of students flooded out. Optimistic people are talking and laughing, and those who are not optimistic are downcast. People in Southwest Province surrounded Qin Luo in the middle, and you said every word. Hey, Qin Luo, how many points can you get? Lin Shanshan said with a smile. Poincaré conjecture, one of the 1,000-year-old problems, Qin Luo should not be able to solve. thinking of everyone getting 0 points, Lin Shanshan felt an inexplicable excitement in her heart, as if a surf turned over and sang. Guess. Qin Luo shrugged his shoulders, his face indifferent. 0 points. Lin Shanshan looked serious. Qin Luo. Can you have some confidence in me? Guess again. Qin Luo's face darkened. Isn't it 0 points? Nonsense, how could it be 0 points? Qin Luo sternly corrected. Hey, just blow it, Poincaré's conjecture is something you and I can prove. Lin Shanshan glared at Qin Luo, her eyes full of contempt. Forget it, anyway, I will come out late anyway. Qin Luo shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently, in order to prove the Poincaré conjecture, he spent a lot of money. Seeing Qin Luo's confidence, Lin Shanshan felt a little uneasy. Wait. You proved the Poincaré conjecture? Lin Shanshan asked tentatively with her eyes wide open. Of course, no, Qin Luo paused and continued, but a breakthrough has been opened, which proves the first stage. What first stage? I proved the non-local collapse theory. Qin Luo said, collapse theorem, something. The crowd continued to be stunned. Let's be honest, how many points can you get, and whether we can take the first place? Full score is not a big problem. Qin Luo said, even in the first stage, the difficulty was beyond imagination. Qin Luo felt that as long as the marking teacher was not too harsh, he would definitely get full marks. Chapter 90. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone gave Qin Luo a deep look, then turned and left. Staying here is simply asking for a blow, cross the river and demolish the bridge. No, the bridge is being demolished even before the river is crossed. Shaking his head, Qin Luo walked out of the examination room. Outside the examination room, reporters who had already been waiting for the exam suddenly swarmed. What do you want to say, classmate? A reporter's microphone was aimed at a male student next to Qin Luo. The quality of the paper is very good, it is very comfortable to hold in the hand, there is no color difference, the printing is clear, and the thickness is uniform. The answer sheet is as expected, it feels great, the attitude of the invigilator is also very good, the classroom is spacious and bright, and the climate and temperature are suitable, the candidates are very satisfied, and they all said that they will definitely come again next year. Reporter. Another student who has been fooled in the exam. Hello, classmate, I'm a Sina literature reporter, can I ask you a question? Students, I heard that the exam questions for this national final are proving Poincaré's conjecture. What do you think about it? The reporters changed their targets one after another, so Qin Luo stopped him. I don't think so. Qin Luo shook his head, no idea. Shouldn't it be hard to complain? Why doesn't this kid play cards according to the routine? Is it difficult? The reporter asked. Is it difficult? I think it's okay. Qin Luo said seriously. Cough, cough, classmate, that's Poincaré's conjecture. Yes, I know, fortunately he is not Goldbach's conjecture. Qin Luo said with a happy expression on his face, dumbfounded, completely dumbfounded. Qin Luo's words confused him. What does it mean when you have a happy face in the face of the Poincaré conjecture? Thank you, classmate. The reporter said to Qin Luo, turning around and pointing the microphone at another student. In his heart, he had already attributed Qin Luo to a character like a scumbag. Hello classmate. It's hard, it's really hard, it's as hard as going to the sky. As he spoke, he actually shed tears. This is what a student should be like. The reporter was immediately excited, he has even thought about the topic of the news, the most difficult national finals in history, and the geniuses are on par with zero. Qin Luo, is it so difficult? Examination room, dozens of test papers have been neatly placed on the desk. Due to the difficulty of Poincaré's conjecture, the three academicians Wang Xuecai, Song Baoguo, and Zhou Haizhong will jointly complete the scoring work this time. Let's start. Following Wang Xuecai's order, Song Baoguo and Zhou Haizhong picked up the test papers one after another. The speed of grading is very fast, almost in the blink of an eye. there are only a handful of thick stacks of test papers. The reason is very simple, most of the papers are blank, and they don't need to read them at all. These 2 papers are a bit interesting. Suddenly, Wang Xuecai laughed loudly. Who? Qin Luo. The high school affiliated to Tsinghua University, O Yilin, the high school affiliated to Central China Normal University, Sunhua. O Yilin, I know that the rare genius of Chinese and European mixed blood is especially sensitive to mathematics. As for Sunhua, he doesn't know much. Song Baoguo replied, why, they proved Poincaré's conjecture. Prove that it's not possible, but we have all found the entry point. Wang Xuecai said while marking a score on the test paper, 13 points, 20 points. Sunhua 13, O Yilin 20, after a few minutes, everyone put down the red pen in their hands and sat upright. At this moment, there is only 1 test paper and 40 or 50 pieces of scratch paper left on the desk. Qin Luo.